Read it, write it, and speak it. I got a chance to spend some time recently with one of my buddies. His name is Matt Scanlon, and he has a brand called Exoterics. And we were walking in the Grove in LA, and he was telling me about some of the challenges that he had, building his business. He's got an incredible store there on Melrose. I'm wearing his chain today, Exoterics, that he designed, which is amazing. But I reminded him of something. I reminded him of it because I wrote it down. And him and I had worked together for years and years and years. And when we first met, I hired him into our company at minimum wage, and I commented on his sweatshirt, and he had some stars on it. And I said, what's up with the stars? He's like, well, I had them embroidered on there. I did that myself. Someday I'm going to be a fashion designer, and I'm going to have a store in LA. And I thought, that's cute, kid, but let's get back to work. We got some work to do, whatever it was. But now fast forward 15, 20 years, and we're walking in LA, and we have just been to his store on Melrose. Now he's a fashion designer, and I'm wearing his dream. I'm wearing the thing that tells me that when you have this dream and you read about it, you write it down, and then you speak it into life, that I'm wearing that. And so every day when I have this chain on, or when you see this chain on me from Exoterics, then it's me wearing the fact that anything that you read about, that you write about, and that you speak about is possible as long as you take it to the source of who designed you in the first place. And so a huge shout out to Matt. And I want to tell you, I got a chance to be able to speak with a young lady the other day. And she asked me, how can I align? Because we were talking about the alignment of your heart set, your mindset, and your skill set, which becomes an irresistible vibe. And she's like, where do I start? And I said, well, the start of creating an irresistible vibe, your heart set is your belief system. Your mindset is your intentions, and your skill set is your actions. But we've got to build the basis on the heart set, which is your beliefs, then bring in the mindset, which is your intentions, and then finish with the skill set, which is your actions. But most people lead the other way. They lead with their actions, their skill set. What can I do? What is the actionable item? All these things. And when we talked about that alignment, she was like, yeah, okay, I understand the heart set, which is my beliefs, my mindset, which is my intentions, and my skill set, which is my actions. I understand that, but how can I start? And so I just let her know, take 3 minutes. And I would challenge each and every one of you to do this today. Take 3 minutes and just write down what you actually believe. Not what you hope you believe, not what you think you should believe, but what you actually believe. Sometimes we'll write down things that are probably not that positive. Some things that we've been told over and over again from people who we value in our lives and who mean the most to us. They've told us things that have been limiting to us. Well, I was very fortunate because I had two people that I talk about a lot, mom and pops, that were constantly lifting me up. I have my brother, Big Rob, who's constantly telling me the things that I can do. And so when we have those things, that becomes our belief system and our heart set. Our intentions or our mindset is going to come in from who we allow in. And I appreciate you guys allowing me into your life and allowing me to be in your ear, or maybe if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple, you allow me in because you choose to subscribe to the podcast. You choose to share it. You choose to comment. That's what your mindset, that's how you build your mindset. And then your skill set is when you take your heart set and your mindset and you put them together, that becomes a skill set. And so this reading, what I told her is, she said, how do I start? I said, we start with the heart set. We got to find out where those beliefs are, and we got to take 3 minutes each day and just write down what you believe, what you actually believe. By the end of 7 days, what you wrote down the first day won't be the same, is because you'll start to question yourself. Do I really believe this? Is this true? Is this? And you get down to those core beliefs. And see, and I told her in this writing, what'll happen is what I would suggest is read something that fills you up. Write down what you believe and then speak it to every single person that day. And what you start to hear when you read it, then you write it, then you speak it, you start to hear these different things that are going on within your life. And you start to ask yourself, do I actually believe it? Well, yesterday I experienced this because I got a text message from my buddy, my best friend in the world from 4th grade. His name is Will. We've been friends since we were 9 years old. I'm 49 now. So this has been, what has it been? 40 years that we've been friends. And I woke up to this text, And it just talked about all these encouraging words, all the things that, he knew that were going to happen, that, don't lose heart, have resiliency, you're working your land, you're doing these things, your audience is going to show up and they will find you. And he said something profound. He said, as opposed to playing to the audience, allow your audience to find you, because that will be the authentic audience. Because if you figure out what that audience wants and then you play to them, that's not really truly who you are. And he encouraged me. And when I told him yesterday, I said, it was tough for me because, I had a dad who, and a mom who encouraged me every single day of my entire life that they were on this earth. And I said, I didn't realize how much I missed it until you wrote me this text this morning. And I just wanted to thank you. And so what I want to encourage you today is take a little bit of time. Take a little bit of time. Read something today that will fill you up. Write about it. And then go and speak life to every single person that you possibly come in contact with. You see, what I read this morning was Proverbs 4, the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. And if you're just joining us for Inchstones for the first time, this is one of our shows on the podcast, and we go through the corresponding proverb, corresponding day, and it's 3,000-year-old wisdom. And Proverbs 4 today was God's call out to focus on him, and he will be an endless source of encouragement in our life if we'll take the time and we'll spend it reading his word, writing about what you get from it, and then speaking it to every single person. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
It's always a special day for me, especially on Friday. Friday is such an incredible day because my mom used to always, celebrate it. She used to jump up and down in the morning on Fridays, and she would say TGIF to me and my brother, and she would just celebrate this day. Maybe it was because of the end of the week. Maybe it was because she wanted to get her boys hyped or whatever it was. But I tell you, I try and do it with my kids. This morning I got a chance to spend some time with McKenna, and when we were talking about reading, writing, and then speaking, my daughter showed me this today, and it was unreal what can happen if you'll just write. Like if you'll write a letter to somebody, and don't do it digitally, do it analog, write it like penmanship. And my daughter wrote out a letter to her teacher. His name is Mr. C. He's her choir teacher, performance choir that she's in right now, and she's absolutely loving. But he's battling with leukemia, and he's about to go on medical leave. And she wrote him this unreal letter. And it talked about that she learned so much about life. She learned so much about character, and she learned about community and how he was joyous every single day. And he made every day just a lot brighter. And she wrote him this letter and just said, thank you. And we'll be thinking about you and praying about for you while you're on your medical leave, and that you've made an impact. You see, most people don't get a letter like that. We go our whole lives and we don't a lot of times get encouragement. I was very fortunate because I had, you see to my right here, if you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify, if you're on Apple, I'm pointing to a little chair that I have where it has my Pops' jacket from when he was in the Air Force, and also a hat that says Pops that was given to me by my very, very good friend Greg Reed as just a selfless gift, which was unreal, and it meant so much to me. But I always had my pops encouraging me. I had my mom encouraging me. When we talked about heart set earlier, my belief system was just that I was awesome, separate myself from my accomplishments, that I was beautiful. This is what my mom said every day. Don't compare yourself to anyone. I could do anything that I put my mind to, but just because I could do it didn't make it my purpose. That's what my mom said to me every single day. You're awesome. You're beautiful. You could do anything. And then my pops would walk by and he would say, boy, you're the greatest. And then he would just move on. When my mom passed away, then he switched it up a little bit. He added a little something to it. He said, boy, you're the greatest. And then he followed up with, so act accordingly. And what I realized yesterday when I got that letter from my buddy Will, that it's been almost 3 years since my pops has called me in the morning. And I didn't realize how much that encouragement meant. And I tell you, every single one of us needs that. And you need that right now. And hopefully this letter can be to you that is watching or listening, to tell you that everything's going to be okay, that God's got you in his hands, that he's working every single thing that's going on right now. He's working in the background to make sure that all the things that you think are just flying apart are working in your favor. And I was reminded of that when I got that text from my friend Will. And then I heard it again. It reiterated it from my daughter when she wrote Mr. C a letter. And what I realized is that, Will had to be filled up first. He had to be filled up with something to be able to give something like he did that text. The same thing with my daughter. So when we read something in the morning that'll lift us up, and then we write about it, and then we speak it into existence, and we speak it to people, and we speak life to people, it's incredible what can happen. What can your letter do for somebody today? If you're married, write your wife a letter and tell her all the things that she did great last week or in the last day, but be very specific. Do this for your kids. Do this for your friends. Even if it's a quick little text, but I tell you, when you do it analog, it can be amazing. See, I got to spend time in the Word this morning with the Lord, and it was Proverbs 4, and Proverbs 4 just reminded me that he's an endless source of encouragement, and then he'll bring people into our lives. My mom used to say, Jesus with skin. And he'll bring people into your life that will be able to encourage you, but he also wants you to be that encouragement for other people. But the only way that you can is if you fill up on his word, and it'll be evergreen. And you'll never be lacking for encouragement if you constantly go to the word. You see, in verse 1 and 2, it said, if you listen, you will hear. If you listen, you'll hear. But if you're not listening for it, it's amazing what you become aware of. My daughter right now wants a car. She's 15 years old, and I want to get her the car that she wants. Mom wants to get her, just whatever, and kind of teach her the lesson. But in my head, that's my baby. I want to get her the car, and she wants a specific car, and she wants a baby blue convertible Beetle. And you know what I'm seeing all the time? Those things. Why? Because I'm aware of it. I'm listening. I'm looking for it. I'm searching for it. It's in my mind. And I tell you, when you listen, you'll hear. And that's what he was talking about in verse 1 and 2. If you truly listen to his word, you take the time and you put that time in and you read the word, you'll hear what he's talking to you about. And you'll hear based off of the different circumstances of that day, the word will come alive and it'll start to speak to you that way. In verse 3 and 4, speaking from authority is different than speaking from opinion. And so when you read truth, when you read the word and it comes from truth, it'll speak from authority. It's not wondering like, oh, wow, I don't know how you'll take this. There's a difference between that and opinion. And most of the time, opinion, it comes from someone who has a theory about it, but doesn't live it, doesn't walk in it. And what's amazing about the word is it always comes from authority. It doesn't come from opinion. And so in verse 3 and 4, it reiterates this and helps you to understand that. In verse 5 through 9, whatever you do, get wisdom. This was a thing that my mom talked to me about from when I was a kid. She was like, if you go after anything, go get wisdom, Kelly. Go get wisdom, my son. And if you get wisdom, it'll protect you all the days of your life. Store it up in your heart. And then what she said to me all the time is, whatever you do, guard your heart. Get wisdom and then fill your heart with it. When you fill your heart with it, the overflow of your heart will be your words. And see if you can fill it up so you read it and then you write it. It fills up your heart. When your heart starts to overflow, it'll come out your mouth and you'll start to speak it. Read it, write it, and speak it every single day. In verse 5 through 9, it just reiterates this. In verse 10 through 13 is wisdom, or listen and apply. Listen and apply. So this is the tough thing. So I got a chance to be able to talk with Jason Pfeiffer, the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine yesterday, and it was unreal. And he gave me some advice because he sent an email and told me there was a typo on my website. He's the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine, and he's helping me with my website. This is amazing. But you know what I did? I listened to it, and then I applied it. By the time that he got on the podcast, that thing had already been fixed. And you see, if you want all the greatest mentorship in the world, when you listen to it, you'll apply it, then you'll bring back results and you'll report them. And then that person will be open to be able to give you more. And what God wants you to know is he simply wants you to listen. Listen, when you read it, start reading it aloud. And when you listen to yourself reading it, then you write it and you see yourself writing it and then you speak it and you could hear your words coming out of your mouth. Things will start to change. Listen and apply, and then get this, in verse 10 through 13, wisdom and instruction will guide you and protect you. Wisdom and instruction. Wisdom comes first, is the right use of knowledge, and it'll bring instruction into your life, and those things will guide you and protect you. And like my mom said, just guard your heart. Fill your heart up with wisdom. How do we get it? From the fear of God. Why would we ever fear God? It's just the word, switch it out. Fear, respect. So when we respect something, we got to spend time with it, see that the words and actions are in line. Once that happens, we start to have respect for it. When we have respect for him, he gives us wisdom, right use of knowledge. Then he brings instruction, and guard that at the highest levels. In verse 14 through 17, give no thought to silliness. And this is this is so great, because there's times where I have like, I could take in a little bit of silliness. I could think about a little. And every single time, God is just saying, don't even give a thought. Don't even give a thought. Don't allow yourself to go to that place and to look at that silliness. The reason why is because it's silly, and it'll bring silly results. And the only thing that will be hurt when you surround yourself with silly people is you. The silly people won't get hurt at all. And so in verse 18 and 19, there is only one road, the high one. This is a hard one. I get calls all the time from my friends, and they ask me as far as counsel, and they ask me like, I had this situation happen, what should I do? And my response, because this was the response that I got from my pops, is there's only one road, and that's the high one. And the high one is not always easy to take, and it's not always the thing that I want to do. But I tell you, it is the road that will always bring a return on your investment when you invest in the high road. And I tell you, the toughest part is when you don't want to, when someone does you wrong, when someone is silly, when someone acts a fool and you acted right and you want to retaliate. But the only road is the high one. And that's in verse 18 and 19. In verse 20 through 22, do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? And this is what God was asking us, is just like, do you hear it? Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? If you really, truly want to hear, then you got to listen. And the way that we listen is that we spend a little bit of time in the word. We read it, then we write it, and then we speak it to every single person. And what will start to happen is it starts to transform. So that question yesterday, that when I sat with the lady, she said, where do I start? Here's where you start. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Read something that'll lift you up. I read the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. It's life. It comes from authority. It brings wisdom. It brings instruction. It brings discretion. It brings discipline. It brings insight. So when I do that, then I can write about it and write maybe the feelings I have, or just write about anything. And then I speak it as often as humanly possible to every single person in my path. In verse 23 through 26, this one, it feels like my mom was talking to me again. And I loved her so much. She's such an incredible lady. And she would say to me always, son, guard your heart, watch your mouth, protect your eyes, and beware of your steps. Guard your heart, what goes into your heart. Read things that lift you up. Listen to things that lift you up. Hopefully this does. Hopefully Inchstones, you lock into this and you spend a little bit of time every day and you comment and you share it and do all the things. But guard your heart. Guard your heart for the things that come into it, because the overflow of your heart is your mouth. And what starts to come out your mouth will direct your eyes to look at the things that are coming out your mouth. And when it comes out your mouth and it directs your eyes, then your feet will start to move towards it. Guard your heart, watch your mouth, protect your eyes, and beware of your steps. And lastly, in verse 27, just be steadfast. Be steadfast in his love. Be steadfast in his encouragement, because he will encourage you at the highest levels if you'll take time to read it, write it, and speak it. And be steadfast, even when things don't seem like they're going the way that you want them to. Even when you don't get the promotion that you think that you were supposed to have, God's got a plan. He knows that if you got that place, you went to that place, maybe there's something that you wouldn't be that savory, and he needs your attention right now. And I tell you, it's amazing how he'll bring people into your life to lift you up. But just stay focused on him, and he will deliver all that you need. But he won't deliver it on your time. He'll deliver it because of his purpose, his plan, and his timing. And that's one of the most challenging things that we'll ever have. But I can encourage you, where do we start today? Read it for 3 minutes, write it for 3 minutes, and then call somebody and tell them, or tell them to their face. Speak it. Read it, write it, speak it. It's amazing how, as I've gone throughout my whole entire life, it comes back and it distills down to very, very, very simple principles that have been there the whole entire time. Read, write, and speak. I want to thank you all for tuning in to Inchstones. Go and buy the book. It's The Vibe. It's on Amazon. The link is in the bio. Also, to the Bling Shine Serum. It's Moisture, Strength, and Shine. And I also want to thank you, too, because we are listener-supported, our podcast is, and we have some supporters. Ashley, you know exactly who you are, and we want to thank you so much at the highest level. And I want to thank every one of you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. And so this has been Proverbs 4, the corresponding proverb, corresponding day. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over